Hello everyone, my name is Heather. Welcome back to my channel. I just posted a more complex in terms of editing video, so I wanted to do something a little bit more simple that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. Okay, so I found a hair on me. Let's get that away. As you can see from the title of this video, this is me as a therapist reacting to life advice I find on Pinterest. So before I get too deep into the video, I do want to make it clear this is just for entertainment purposes. I am not advertising services in any way. I actually don't want your services. Don't come to me. But just so you know my background, I am a registered associate marriage and family therapist. I'm working towards my licensure at the moment and will be for quite some time. But I have my master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and actually starting in the fall, I'm gonna start working on my doctorate in the same field. So there's that, that's my background. So as I'm reacting to this life advice that I'm finding on Pinterest, just know that that's the lens through which I'm going to be critiquing this life advice. Another thing I want you to know about me is that I'm kind of obsessed with Pinterest. I don't know, I'm obsessed with aesthetics on Pinterest. I feel like whenever I go on Pinterest, I think that I can get my life together. I don't know what it's about, but when I go on that app, I just get this sense that everything I need to know about life is in front of me as long as the algorithm is working in my favor. And I don't know, Pinterest as a social media app, I don't know, I don't really socialize with it or look at it as like other people posting it. I just don't even attach what I see to other people's lives, but I guess it is a social media app. But I understand it. I understand the algorithm. I don't ever get anything on my feed where I'm like, where did this come from? It clearly, I'm looking at different nail colors, and so now my feed has a ton of different nail colors on it. Like, it makes sense. And I'll be really into like dark academia stuff, and then my feed is full of dark academia stuff. At a certain point though, I hit a point of diminishing returns where I'm just running into the same posts over and over and over again, and that's usually when I kind of take a break and then I come back and maybe I get into something totally different. So I have been really into, like I mentioned, the dark academia aesthetic. I've been really into the that girl aesthetic, you know, in the last couple of years, and then switching more into like the clean girl and all this stuff. I don't know why it's always like the girl, you know, whatever. I'm also going to be filming a video reacting to the dark feminine trend that's been going around. And not only am I seeing it on my Pinterest, but I'm seeing it a lot on YouTube too. But that's not today's video. This video is me reacting to life advice, but I just wanted you to know I have come across so much life advice on Pinterest because I'm constantly on there looking up like little listicles of inspiring blocks of text. I don't know. I could make this video so long, but I'm gonna do us both a favor and we're gonna keep it short.
Nice try.
So if that means I'm only reacting to a few posts because I just say too much, then so be it. And if you like the video, I'll do more because there is a lot of life advice out there. The post that I am reacting to is going to be right here on the screen. So thank you, future Heather, for editing this. Okay, I thought about recording my screen, but I'm not going to. I haven't planned yet. I'm just on my board where I pin this kind of stuff, but I don't know specifically what I'm going to be saying and how I'm going to be reacting. I just know I want to react. Let me just start with this first one. It's a most recent one I pinned to my board, and it's goals and reminders. So it's a study blur. A lot of these are from Tumblr, like Tumblr accounts where people took screenshots of Tumblr posts and then posted it to Pinterest. I don't know, is that kind of like how I watch my TikToks on Instagram Reels? Is that sort of the analogy there? Anyway, okay, so this person created their goals and reminders. Enough people, it resonated. This post resonated with enough people that it became a post on Pinterest as well. Okay, so people seem to really want to read at least one book per month. I would agree with that. That resonates with me. I try to read more than one book per month, but when I came up with my New Year's intentions, it was to read 12 books. There are 12 months in a year, so a book a month. List 5 things that make you happy every day. So is this listing 5 things every day that make you happy, or listing 5 things only that make you happy every day? I have so many questions. I personally, I don't know, like, why would this feel, for me, it feels less like a goal and more like maybe a reminder, maybe like a gratitude kind of practice, which I'm not going to sit here and like have references for everything that I'm going to say, or actually anything that I'm saying, because I'm on a break from school right now and I'm not doing that for my YouTube channel. But there are studies backing up how practicing gratitude does help with your mental health. So I'll just say that. So maybe that's what this is sort of alluding to. You don't always have to be grateful for something that makes you happy though. I don't think the goal should be to be happy. That could be a whole other video. Okay, create playlists for every mood. This is not for me. I don't make playlists. I have one playlist. No, I have 2. I have my sexy playlist and I have my running playlist. That's it. But like playlists for every mood, maybe I just don't know enough about music. I pretty much listen to like 90% Taylor Swift and then 10% other random things. But playlists for every mood, I just feel like there are people who know more about music and know more about like how to set a mood with music, that I could just go online and look up like sad playlist. I don't want to do that, but I guess maybe this is for someone else. Learn a new language through consistent practice every day. Yes. Okay, so I did actually make a video about habits that changed my life, and being on Duolingo every day is a habit that has changed my life. I feel a lot more confident with learning languages. Not that I would consider myself fluent in anything. If you're familiar with the financial diet, Chelsea Fagan mentions how honestly, if you really want to learn a language, it would be best to invest in a tutor. And I've actually been thinking about doing that. I just need to figure out how much I want it. But honestly, like, I don't know, I agree with this on this post. Learning a new language, not everyone wants to learn a new language, but if you're someone who would resonate with a Study Blur account, you might also, there might be a Venn diagram between like Study Blur and dark academia, light academia. And I know that like the academia aesthetics are all about learning languages. Just depends on the language and the aesthetic. Research new topics that interest you. How about coding, music, or graphic design? I don't know. Maybe it's because I did so much research for school. I don't want to research in my free time. Here's what I do. Sometimes I just have like a question that pops into my head and I just Google it. I don't deep dive though. If I feel like I found my answer, then I'm happy. For example, I find myself Googling on a regular basis, let's call it a few times a year, why does it feel so good to pop my back? I found the answer multiple times, but I think because the act of finding the answer like adds to the experience of why it feels so good to pop my back. Just little things like that. But I don't really research new topics that interest me, though I do watch a lot of long form content on YouTube of topics that interest me, and I find that I learn some stuff from that, but I'm not doing deep dives. Compliment people frequently. Yes, I agree with that. I think that that could be so good for your mental health to spread that positivity. I have no research to back that up off the top of my head, but just personal experience, complimenting people, seeing their reactions, and not expecting a compliment in return, I think is a huge part of that too. Don't expect it back. Just like how if someone compliments you, you don't have to compliment them back. You could just say, thank you. Thank you. You know? Oh, that's like a life lesson I learned probably in the last 5 years. Okay. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to someone new. It can be online as well. I mean, I guess to be intentional about it, like what's the situation? What's the context? Are you trying to make new friends? I guess maybe you are. I'm really happy with the amount of friends I have. I feel like I'd be overwhelmed if I had any more friends. Not that I have a gajillion amount of friends, but I'm an introvert and I just can only have so many friends at one time. Although in certain situations, if it feels appropriate to kind of insert myself into the system that I see, then yeah, I would say I have learned to be brave and introduce myself if it feels right. But also, and maybe this is kind of coming from the dark feminine aesthetic, don't be afraid to just keep to yourself too, you know, kind of adds an aura of mystery if that's what you're going for. I don't know, which just goes to show I'm only looking at one post, but I'm in my mind referencing other posts. Life advice on Pinterest is so contradictory sometimes, it's ridiculous. Okay, try to notice the sky and the air and the flowers. Pay attention to your surroundings. I'm sort of mocking it with my voice, but I actually really agree with this. So there is a coping skill that a lot of people are familiar with, but you might not be familiar with. It's one of my favorites to teach my clients. I work with kids and teens, by the way. So for them, it's the first time they're hearing it, which is kind of nice for me. But it's the 5 senses grounding technique. It's a technique that really gets you back into your body, but out of your head. Like, it grounds you in your space, in your body, and also in your environment. So part of that is observing with all of your senses your environment. So if you're outside, which nature is extremely healing and very good for your mental health, there are definitely studies to back that up. Sure, you can Google it. But yeah, paying attention to the sky, like smelling the air, feeling the breeze against your skin, hearing the birds chirping, the wind like rustling through the leaves. It's extremely therapeutic. So I agree with this one. Collect quotes that motivate you. I guess I have to kind of agree with this because I add this stuff to my Pinterest boards. I guess I'm sort of collecting quotes that motivate me. And above all, stay hydrated. No! I'm constantly dehydrated. I'm like a desiccated mummy. But okay, yeah, stay hydrated because it's so original, such great advice. No, it really is, actually. I would just say it's confusing when you hear conflicting advice about what it means to be hydrated. How much water do you have to drink to be hydrated? What counts as like water and what's not really water? Like, coffee's not hydrating. Like, it technically is. I'm just saying. Okay, that was that post. Kind of agree with it for the most part. Okay, so here we go. I see a lot of posts like this too. Sort of, it like paints a word picture, if you will. It's less of a listicle, more of a paragraph where you can sort of imagine yourself. It's almost like the POV type posts you see, or like the YN, insert your name here, kind of posts where it's like, just imagine, if you will, what it would feel like to live this kind of lifestyle. So I'll read it out loud. Concept: let's go to bed at 9 p.m. instead of 3 a.m. Okay, let's drink more water for our bodily health and less coffee for the aesthetic. No, I hate it. I hate it already. Let's not skip breakfast because it's worth running a little behind, even if it's just some fruit or cereal. Let's go socialize, even if we're kind of nervous. Let's love ourselves when we feel down because flaws are not the end of the world. Let's work hard but take breaks in between instead of procrastinating and then rushing. Let's ignore people. Let's ignore what people who don't know us have to say about us behind our backs. Let's be kind to each other because we're all trying here. Let's hype up being mentally healthy rather than being perfect. Let's live our lives like we want to. Just a thought. All right, it all sounds well and good. The extremism of let's go to bed at 9 p.m. instead of 3 a.m. Like, if you really go to bed at 3 a.m. consistently, first of all, let's not demonize our night owls, okay? Like, depending on the person's lifestyle, maybe they get off work at 2 a.m. and they go to bed at 3 a.m. Like, what's up, you know, why with the judging, okay? Also, going to bed at 9 p.m. That's kind of early. I go to bed pretty early, and I think 9 p.m. is a little bit early. I think the idea here is if for some reason it is problematic for you or impairing your functioning in some kind of way, and when I say impairing functioning, I mean you are not able to operate optimally at work or at school or with your friends, with your family, and your romantic relationships, if for some reason it is negatively impacting you and your life and your lifestyle to be staying up really late, then maybe take a look at your bedtime habits, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to go from 3 a.m. to 9 p.m. The extremism, I think, is for them to make a point. Let's drink more water, okay? I think for the most part, you can't really hurt yourself by drinking a little bit more water. But here's where I have a little bit of beef, and less coffee for the aesthetic. I'm confused by the wording. Are you judging people for drinking coffee for the aesthetic of being a coffee drinker? Or is the aesthetic to drink more water and less coffee? I don't know. This is just me maybe nitpicking the sentence structure a little bit. Don't ever tell me to drink less coffee. I drink 2 cups of coffee every morning, and those aren't like 8-ounce cups. I mean, I have a mug, and then I have my travel mug, which is not a huge travel mug, and I drink that throughout the rest of the morning when I'm at work. I don't think it's excessive. I actually find I've been drinking even a little bit less coffee naturally. I don't know, it just kind of depends on the day, but I listen to my body when it comes to how much coffee I drink. Sometimes I need a little bit more, and that's okay too. So, and yes, I should drink more water. Fine. Okay, but let's move on. I feel like there's more here to dissect. Let's not skip breakfast because it's worth running a little behind, even if it's just some fruit or cereal. Interesting. If you're going to bed at 9 p.m., how are you not waking up early enough to have breakfast? That's my question. Also, some people don't eat breakfast. They are not hungry in the morning, and they just eat when they're hungry a little bit later, and that's fine too. This is kind of a touchy, you know, skipping breakfast. Are we doing intermittent fasting? Are we not? Conflicting, we talk about conflicting advice between like life advice, but also like health advice. Eat breakfast, don't eat breakfast, have something small snacks throughout the day, 3 large meals, what do you do? So I don't know. Worth being a little bit behind. Personally, I'm an early is on time is late kind of person. So if you really are not having breakfast because you need to be on time for something, and for some reason you can't have breakfast and be earlier on time, then maybe like pack your breakfast. I don't know, just a thought. Let's go socialize, even if we're kind of nervous. If you want to, that's your goal, you know, and you want to be more social and you want to face some kind of like social anxiety that you are having. It's not as easy as just let's go socialize. Just because you're a little bit nervous, this is probably not for people who have severe social anxiety. Also, it's okay not to socialize. Again, introvert over here. Let's love ourselves when we feel down, because flaws are not the end of the world. It's true, flaws are not the end of the world. I'm sure I can think of a flaw that might kind of be super bad, but let's not go to the extremes here. Let's love ourselves. How about let's respect ourselves when we're feeling down? You know, loving yourself when you're feeling down might be too big of an ask, but let's respect ourselves, I think. Let's work hard, but take breaks in between instead of procrastinating and then rushing. Again, this depends on the person. Some people are highly motivated by waiting to the last minute, and they're able to have a good good outcome, good finished product, even if they rushed on it. Some people can do that, but I don't know the numbers, but I want to say most people are not like that, but I don't take my word for that. For me, I am someone who I would rather start really, really early, work hard. I tend to, once I do get into a big project, I kind of go all in until I'm done with it, unless it's really, really massive, and then I do break it up into chunks, and oftentimes I finish something early because of that. My anxiety about procrastinating is so great that I avoid procrastinating, not because I'm avoiding procrastinating, but because I'm avoiding the anxiety about not having the thing done. But that's just me. But I do agree with work hard on something that is important to you and take breaks. That's great. Let's ignore what people who don't know us have to say about us behind our backs. Interesting. I feel like that sentence could be a whole video as well, because for the most part, yeah, if someone doesn't really know you and they don't know your life, they don't know your choices, what they say, I mean, yeah, we take it with a grain of salt, but I do sometimes think that people's judgments of us can be a nice little litmus test for some things. I think for some things. It depends on how many people kind of share the same opinion, and like where that person is in your life, like the role they play in your life, how well they know you, even if they don't know you very much, and the thing that they're judging you for. Because we're all gonna mess up, we're all gonna make mistakes, and sometimes hearing that little like, oh, so-and-so said this, and you might think, does that align with my values? Can I like look at my actions and through their perspective, and do I still agree with what I did? Okay, great, but maybe like, maybe I need to rethink my choices. I think that's okay too. It's a bit more nuanced than I think what this post is saying. Let's be kind to each other because we're all trying here. I agree with that. Hype up being mentally healthy rather than being perfect. I agree with that. Let's live our lives like we want to. This is a very individualistic culture kind of thing to say. This person probably lives in like the Western type world. But I mean, I live in an individualistic culture, so for the most part, I do agree. Let's live our lives like we want to, as long as we are not hurting anybody else. Okay, so I've been talking for 21.5 minutes and I've only done 2 posts. Maybe I can do one more. Okay, so the last post of life advice that I'm going to react to is this one right here. I'm gonna read it first. Go to university, but go for the right reasons. Education isn't a gun held to your head, it's a weapon in your hands. Go not because you're afraid of not getting a job, but go because you love to learn, because you're excited by ideas, because you believe that education is important for its own sake. And when you get there, pay attention, read everything you can get your hands on, cram yourself with words and figures and ideas, because that's the one thing they can never take away from you. Beautiful, lovely, lovely, pretty words, right? Okay, go to university, but go for the right reasons. What are the right reasons? I mean, I think it kind of goes into some of those right reasons. Clearly, I am someone who has gone to university. I got my bachelor's degree in psychology. The reason I went to university is because I attended a high school where that was kind of the expectation. Everyone was working, well, not everyone, I shouldn't say that, but I just, it never crossed my mind to not go to university, and I'm assuming that it was the culture of my high school. I also was in honors classes, I was in AP classes, and so that kind of added to that. It didn't even feel like pressure for me. It was just like, this is just what I'm gonna do, you know, like, you know, and I think if I'd ever said I didn't want to go, I think I probably would have got some pressure from my mom, but I never didn't want to go. But I don't know if I went for the right reasons. I went because I didn't question it. I just went, and I thought that if I went and got my bachelor's degree, then I would automatically be able to get a job. No, not with a bachelor's degree in psychology. You cannot just get a job, especially in the field. Go for the right reasons. I don't know, maybe for you, the right reasons are, I want to network. I want to meet or like be in a more diverse culture and widen my horizons and challenge myself with different perspectives than the ones I've been growing up with. I would say those are pretty good reasons to go to university. You're going to be spending a heck of a lot of money for those things. But hey, like if you have that privilege, then go for it, I guess. But I would say that's a good reason to go to university. But education isn't a gun held to your head. That's true. You don't have to go. This is actually something I tell my clients. You know, I work with a lot of kids and teens, and when I have clients who tell me that they don't want to go to college, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you have to go to college. Partially, I don't want to be another adult telling them what to do, and also I don't agree that you have to go to university or college or whatever to have a great life. You don't have to. It's also not an accessible thing for a lot of people to do. And a lot of people don't want to go into sometimes hundreds of thousands, but definitely tens of thousands of dollars of debt to be able to do that. So it is not a gun to your head, but I do think that being educated through university, but also just in general. You don't have to even go to university to get an education. I think being educated is like a weapon in your hands. The more you know, I don't even know how to finish that sentence, but like having knowledge is power. I really do think that the more you know, the more you can look at the world, look at your life, look at the people in your life, look at how you are impacted by your society and all of that. The more you know, you just can navigate the world in a more nuanced, balanced, intentional way. And you learn to question the things that we're kind of raised to just leave unquestioned. And I don't know, like getting married, I think, you know, being a bride, that whole process, I have I left it unquestioned for so much of my life. And now I'm like, oh, I know so much about the patriarchy and about sexism and misogyny and all this stuff, that if I were to ever get married again, I am going to navigate that process in a much more different, you know what I mean, way with my education. So yeah, I would say it's a weapon in your hands. It's a little bit a violent metaphor, maybe. Like, who are we? I don't think education should be like something to hurt people with, which is what a weapon is, but maybe a weapon like to defend yourself. I don't know. I like to analyze metaphors. I'm a metaphor girly myself. Go not because you're afraid of not getting a job, but go because you love to learn, or go because maybe you don't love to learn. I don't know. I feel like I can say I love to learn, but then when I'm in grad school and I'm like, oh my God, I don't care about this freaking journal article. I have to try to get into the mindset of like, I'm like a Rory Gilmore and I just want to learn everything. Sometimes that helps me get through the article, but honestly, for me, yes, I value my education a lot. And like I said, it's helped me in so many ways, but I also view it as a means to an end. Like, my education to get my master's degree was a way for me to break into a career where I could finally level up for me, like to a level where I wanted to get to in life. And now getting my doctorate, that's a degree I don't need. I do want to learn. I do want to see like what else there is for me to know in my field, but also it's kind of a means to an end. I want that DR in front of my name. I want that, like, I can't think of the word, but I guess the respect, like I want that DR. Like, I want to be Dr. Heather, whatever, you know? So go because you love to learn. That will help for sure. But also education does provide opportunity. Just a bachelor's degree might not. And I hate saying that because a bachelor's degree is a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of money. And unfortunately, it's not enough for a lot of fields. So it kind of sucks, but it does open up some doors, even if it's just like a door to then get your master's, so that then you can get a job. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't, that's okay. Go because you're excited by ideas, because you believe that education is important for its own sake, which is a very privileged thing to say. Yes, education is important for its own sake, but it's also a luxury, like a really, really big luxury. I don't even want to look at my student loan amount right now. I don't even want to think about it. It's ridiculous. And also, you can get this education for its own sake without going to university. You don't have to go to university to get this education that they're talking about. And when you get there, pay attention, read everything you can get your hands on, cram yourself with words and figures and ideas, because that's the only thing they can never take away from you. It's true, they can't take that away from you. When I get my doctorate, no one will ever be able to take that away from me. No one will ever be able to take my master's degree away from me, even if for some reason something happens and, you know, when I get my license, something bad happens and like that gets taken away from me. They can never take away your education. So unless your school like randomly becomes unaccredited, can that happen? I think that can happen. But anyway, when you get there, yes, pay attention, because either you or someone else is spending a considerable amount of money for you to be going there. And unless money is just, it doesn't matter, it's not really an object for you, then maybe you don't have to listen to me. But I think the average person, try to remember the value of the time that you are sitting in that class. Like an hour in class is like $100-something, maybe more, maybe less, but maybe more. It's very expensive. So do try to pay attention. It was always a really big pet peeve for me when I'd be sitting in class and people would ask questions that if they were paying attention at any point in class, they would have known the answer. And I'm like, okay, now you're taking away my time. This is me just venting at this point. But I mean, for the most part, I agree with that. Pay attention, read everything you can get your hands on. I don't know, read your assignments. I didn't read everything I could get my hands on. I did not have time for that, but read your assignments, do your assignments, try, do your best, learn, be a self-directed learner if you can, if your program is conducive to that. But yeah, they can never take that away from you. I agree with that. Okay, I'm gonna end there. I have so many more. Okay. I am so goofy right now. I don't know if you can tell. I'm feeling in a very goofy mood. I think I've been really wanting to film this video for quite some time. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, let me know, because it's something I've never done before, by giving it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you want to see more of these types of videos. And yeah, I might just do one again because I do what I want on my channel. Yeah. Thanks again for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.